Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
What if your biggest breakthrough isn't in chasing others, but in turning inward with relentless discipline? And what if the strength you've been seeking isn't out there at all, but waiting quietly inside you? Imagine what could happen the moment you stop proving to the world and start building in silence. Most people drain their energy trying to prove something to everyone else. But winners choose growth over approval. They sharpen their edge, silence the noise, and become undeniable by focusing on themselves. The difference between noise and impact is focus. Block out the world, put the spotlight on your own progress, and don't stop until you win. Soon, you'll see how focusing only on yourself creates strength, silence, and unstoppable momentum. Every man searches outward for approval, applause, and recognition. Yet the real proof isn't in what the world says. It's in what you whisper to yourself in the silence of your own soul. We're told to chase money, recognition, relationships, and rewards, but none of these will last. If the man inside is left unfocused and undisciplined, nothing outside will ever be enough. The moment you stop checking how others are running and start paying attention to your own steps, the real race begins. Why does this matter? Because your focus is your power. It is the rudder of your ship, guiding your future and deciding its direction. When your focus is scattered across 10 different shores, you'll never reach any of them. But when it narrows to one, the right one, it cuts through every storm. That's what it looks like. A man who turns off the world for a season, builds in silence, and polishes his craft until it shines too brightly to ever be ignored. So ask yourself, are you focused on becoming, or are you distracted by watching others become? Are you watering your roots, or just decorating your branches? The man who learns to look inward before outward soon discovers the world bows to his inner strength. Begin there. Stay there. Win from there. Build a wall around your attention, because it is your greatest treasure. Guard it like a kingdom under siege. Every whisper, every comparison, every subtle judgment is an arrow aimed at your focus. But you must not flinch. A man who protects his attention builds an empire. Why does this matter? Because whatever holds your attention owns your future. If gossip takes it, you shrink. If regret takes it, you stall. But if purpose takes it, you rise. So how do you make your attention unshakable? Start by choosing what enters your eyes and ears. Choose your conversations. Choose your thoughts. Say no more often. Cut shallow obligations. Trade being liked for being clear. And above all, stop explaining yourself to people who are not building with you. Think of a farmer who checks his neighbor's crops every morning. He forgets to water his own, and when harvest comes, he has nothing but envy. Now imagine you. What could you build in a year if you stopped watching how others live? What would happen if you poured that energy into yourself? This is not selfish. It is sacred. It is the beginning of everything great. Focus is not a suggestion. It is survival. Will you waste it, or will you wield it? Become dangerously consistent. You don't need more goals. You need more repetition. Most men don't fail from lack of ambition, but from lack of consistency. They dream in castles, but build with paper. They begin with fire, with vision, with a plan. But the moment boredom or resistance blows in, they flicker. They start strong on Monday, but by Thursday, they negotiate. Maybe later, maybe tomorrow. With every compromise, they teach their mind that effort is optional. Yet the man who wins isn't the one who starts with the loudest noise, but the one who keeps moving forward even when the applause fades. He moves when no one claps, when no one notices, when the reward feels far away. Why? Because he knows a secret. Every act you repeat, even in silence, is shaping the man you become. You are not defined by your goals. You are defined by what you do daily. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. And that's the difference. Most men worship inspiration, but inspiration fades. The wise man worships structure, building it into his life like a steady rhythm, a drumbeat that never stops. He becomes a creature of consistent motion. He shows up after he's tired, after he's overlooked. Through repetition, he becomes what others call lucky, what history calls unstoppable. So how do you become that man? Start by making fewer promises. Don't declare 100 intentions. Declare one, and keep it. Let your soul learn that your word has weight. Build a schedule, not a fantasy. Follow it as a soldier follows orders. When your feelings say no, let your principles say yes. Do the work again and again until reality bends to your will. Think of a blacksmith. He doesn't strike the iron once and expect it to change. He strikes with rhythm, with heat, with patience, until the iron becomes what he envisions. You must do the same with your body, your craft, and your character. Life does not yield to dabblers. It yields to the dangerously consistent. So ask yourself, are you flirting with success or forging it? Writing intentions or carving results? Still negotiating with excuses or commanding your future? The man who becomes dangerously consistent, who trains his hands, his tongue, and his mind to show up daily, rain or shine, becomes more than human. He becomes inevitable. Time bows before him, and even fate takes notice. Keep striking, keep showing up. Let others chase motivation. You chase mastery. In the end, the world does not reward potential. It rewards proof, and proof is born in repetition. Silence your inner enemy. That voice in your head, sometimes whispering, sometimes shouting, pretends to protect you, but only paralyzes. It tells you you're not ready, not good enough, not made for more. It digs through your memories, pulling out every flaw, every mistake, and presenting them as truth. But that voice is not truth. It is sabotage, disguised in your own tone. It is the enemy living rent-free in your house. Until you evict it, you will keep locking yourself out of the future meant for you. What makes this voice so powerful? It knows your secrets. It sounds familiar, like your own thoughts. It repeats the fears you've whispered in the dark. It doesn't come like a stranger. It comes like a friend, a guardian, warning you, shielding you. But its warnings are lies. Its shields are chains. It plays your failures on repeat as if they were prophecy. But prophecy is not prediction. It belongs to the man who writes it, not the man who fears it. So how do you defeat this enemy? You don't argue with it. You speak louder. You declare your truth. Write down what is noble in you, what is excellent, what is eternal, and read it aloud, not once, but every day. Become your own advocate. Shift from inner criticism to inner coaching. Stop reciting what went wrong and start rehearsing who you are. Your words are weapons. Use them. Speak like a man who commands his own soul. The voice of doubt must never have the final word. Speak your values. Speak your goals. Speak your identity, until the inner saboteur is drowned by the truth of who you are. Surround yourself with people who reflect your strength, not your insecurity. You don't need echoes of fear. You need mirrors of courage. Seek those who sharpen your edge, who remind you that you are not alone in this battle. No man wins a war by himself. You are not failing. You are forging. You are not behind. You are becoming, just as a blade is hammered and heated before it shines. So too must your soul be tested before it triumphs. What feels like delay is often divine preparation. What feels like defeat is often disguised development. Picture a captain in the middle of a storm. Waves rise. The crew panics. Fear spreads like fire. But the captain does not shout in fear. He speaks above the storm. He holds the wheel. He sets the course. He commands. That is who you must be. Will you be the crew, reactive, scattered, overwhelmed? Or will you be the captain of your own mind? The voice of fear will always knock, but you decide whether it gets a seat at the table. Until you conquer the inner voice, no outer victory will last. You may win the deal, earn the praise, gain the success, but if your own mind stands against you, peace will slip away. So silence the lie, amplify the truth. Don't just think strength, declare it. Don't just hope for it, train it. Build your inner voice like a warrior forges his sword, with focus, with practice, with fire. Once your mind believes, your life will follow. When truth becomes louder than the lie within, no storm will be beyond your command. Walk alone until you attract. Yes, you want support. That's natural. You want applause. That's human. You crave connection, affirmation, a circle that sees you. But never beg for it. Don't chase hands that only clap when you shrink yourself. Earn your tribe by first becoming someone who doesn't need one to stand tall. How? By walking alone. Not forever, but long enough for the walk itself to transform you. When you carry your fire in solitude, it grows brighter, steadier, unstoppable. That fire becomes a beacon. The right people don't need convincing. They are drawn to light. This truth is hard because it cuts against our oldest instinct, the need to belong. From childhood, You were wired to fit in, to avoid rejection, to win approval. But there is a cost to craving acceptance. The man who runs to every crowd in search of warmth forgets the fire within. He conforms, he mimics, and he loses himself until he no longer recognizes his own voice. Before you become social, you must become solid. Before you seek acceptance, you must seek alignment. Alignment with what? With your values, your vision, your voice. This isn't arrogance, it's foundation. You don't become valuable by being seen. You are seen because you've become valuable. So how do you start? Choose solitude, not loneliness, but solitude. Loneliness is emptiness. Solitude is presence. It is the forge where greatness is made. Use it to think deeply, act deliberately, and train consistently. Let it sharpen your instincts and strip away the noise. Get so clear on your mission that distractions lose interest. Picture a lion among sheep. The lion does not beg the herd to crown him king. He doesn't explain himself or lower his roar to comfort their ears. He stands in his strength, and the right ones recognize it. So must you. Ask yourself, are you shrinking your spirit to be accepted by those who don't value your essence? Are you softening your voice to blend into a chorus of confusion? Or are you willing to be misunderstood for a season until respect arrives? Understand this. The road of solitude is not a curse. It is the training ground. It is where kings are forged, voices refined, and resolve built. When you stop fearing the lonely path, you begin to own it. And the man who owns the road eventually commands the crowd. So walk it with your head high, your spine straight, your purpose in hand. Let your silence be your training. Let your discipline be your declaration. Let your life become proof that you never needed permission to be powerful. Because one day, they will come. The ones who resonate, the ones who rise. They won't ask to follow. You'll simply see them fall into step. Real tribe is not found, it is drawn. And only those who have walked alone can lead others with strength. Let the lonely road refine you, not define you. Be willing to walk that road. Soon, you won't just find a tribe, you'll lead one. You owe yourself everything. No mentor, no partner, no miracle can replace that. It may sound harsh, but it is the highest form of freedom. Because once you stop waiting for rescue, you start building your own ladder. You begin becoming the answer. The moment you take full ownership of your life, you reclaim your power, not just emotionally, but practically. You stop asking, why me, and start asking, what now? Why is this shift so powerful? Because the man who blames and delays surrenders his power to the past. But the man who takes charge accelerates. He becomes a force of movement. He refuses to let excuses outlive his dreams. He understands this truth. If your vision is sacred, your excuses must be sacrificed. And what does it mean to owe yourself everything? It means doing the work when no one applauds. It means waking early when no one tells you to. Holding yourself to a higher standard, not because others watch, but because you do. Choosing the hard thing over the easy one. Discipline over comfort. Purpose over pleasure. It means showing up as your future self right now. Stop waiting for motivation. Create it. Motivation is not the requirement. It is the result. Action comes first. Motion breeds emotion. When you move, clarity arrives, strength follows. Stop asking for permission. Claim it. The life you want will never be handed to you. It must be forged by you. One decision at a time. Picture a builder standing before an empty lot. There is no applause, no blueprint, only vision and will. He lays one brick, then another. Every brick is a promise. Every strike of the hammer, a vow. He doesn't wait for help. He becomes the help. Until one day, a castle stands where emptiness once ruled. Will you lay your bricks? Or are you still waiting for someone else to bring the cement? The truth is simple. Every result in your life reflects the standard you've allowed. If you tolerate mediocrity, you live in it. If you demand excellence, you rise into it. So raise the standard, not tomorrow now. Not when you feel like it, but especially when you don't. Because every day you delay widens the gap between who you are and who you could be. You don't owe your past, your pain, or your doubt. You owe your future. The future is waiting for you to show up, asking, are you ready to stop watching and start building? You want transformation? Then stop outsourcing responsibility. Take the pen, write your path, lay your bricks, stack your proof. This life is your construction site. It will be messy, it will be slow, it will be silent. But every nail you drive, every hour you commit, every choice you master builds the fortress of a man who cannot be shaken. You don't need saving, you need structure. You don't need approval, you need execution. And when you understand that you owe you, everything changes. Not because the world gets easier, but because you get stronger. Now prove it. Your standards determine your story. Your life will never rise higher than your standards. Not your dreams, not your intentions, your standards. Dreams may lift your eyes to the sky, but only standards train your feet to walk the path that takes you there. A man may speak of greatness, but if his standards are low, his actions will betray him. Life always echoes action, not ambition. Dreams inspire, but standards build. And the man who builds high must first dig deep. He must declare to himself, not once, but daily, "This is my line. This is who I am." The man who sets a high standard and never breaks it becomes like a fortress. Life may strike, storms may howl, but the walls stand firm because the foundation was never negotiable. Why does this matter? Because when adversity comes, you don't rise to the occasion. That's a myth. You fall to the level of your system. And your system is only as strong as the floor beneath it, the line you refuse to cross. Even when it costs you, that floor is your true standard. Not the one you speak to the world, but the one you live when no one is watching. So how do you raise that floor? Start with your non-negotiables. Not 10, just 1. Guard it with your life. Say no to the path of least resistance. Say no to just this once. Say yes to "This is who I am." Because when you defend the standard begins to defend you. Refuse the easy way. Reject what insults your soul. Deny what feels good now if it robs what matters forever. The man who refuses to cheat the blueprint, who builds with integrity, brick by brick, day by day, becomes untouchable. He isn't dependent on applause. He doesn't bend when mocked. He shows up when it rains. He shows up when it hurts. And over time, his consistency becomes legacy. His name begins to mean something. His presence becomes a message. Everyone around him knows he does not break the line. And that is rare. That is respected. That becomes power. But the question remains, what are your standards behind closed doors? When no one is watching, who are you? Not the version you post or perform, but the one who stands alone in silence. That man is writing your future, not the dreamer, but the decider. And the beauty of standards is this. You don't need permission to raise them. You don't need the world to agree. You only need to decide. Because once you elevate the standard, the story must follow. Life always reflects what you consistently demand. So choose the higher floor. Hold it, guard it, and build from it. One day, without trying to be inspiring, without shouting your worth, others will look at you and say, "There stands a man whose standards shaped his story." Let that man be you. Your pace is your power. You've been told to hurry, to move faster, to keep up, or risk being forgotten. But no one told you the truth. Speed without direction is disaster. It feels like progress, looks like ambition, but ends in exhaustion, regret, and misalignment. The world runs in panic. You must choose to move with purpose. Because the moment you trade your pace for theirs, you abandon your path for theirs. And in that trade, purpose dies. Comparison is not motivation, it is corrosion. It eats away at your center until your journey no longer feels like your own. The man who understands his pace owns his future. He doesn't rush to impress. He doesn't panic when others seem ahead. He knows something they don't. Life is not a race, it is a rhythm. And rhythm, once discovered, becomes a secret weapon. Why is pace so powerful? Because pace guards your energy. It shields you from burnout. It protects you from distraction. It saves you from self-sabotage. The man who knows his pace refuses to sprint toward goals that don't matter. He doesn't trade his soul for speed. He builds with intention. He learns the rhythm of mastery. And real mastery is never built in sprints. It is carved in stride. So how do you find your pace? Stop watching theirs. Start listening inward. The answer isn't in the crowd's applause. It's in your own breath, your own steps, your own spirit. Learn to hear your inner tempo. Design days that build depth, not just hustle. Choose one hard thing and do it well. Eliminate the noise. Embrace the discipline of slow. Do deep, focused work. Build steadily, with no retreat. Let each action be a brick, each day a foundation. Picture a marathon runner who sprints at mile 1. He surges ahead briefly, but the weight of unsustainable speed breaks him. He collapses. He regrets. But the man who knows his rhythm endures. He conserves. He outlasts them all. His power is not in speed, it is in sustainability. Ask yourself, Are you chasing the world's timeline or building your own? Are you counting how fast others rise or how deep you go? What if your timing isn't late, but perfect? What if your pace is hidden power? What if patience is positioning you for permanence? Walk in that. Own that. Trust that. Because when you do, you arrive. Not just anywhere, but exactly where greatness was waiting. Not by accident, but by rhythm, by mastery, by walking the path only you could walk, at the pace only you could hold. You don't need to be first. You need to be faithful. Keep your pace. Keep your power. Then the world will wonder how you lasted, how you rose, how you built what no one else could. The answer? You didn't rush. You remembered who you are, and you moved in rhythm until the world caught up. Mindset makes the man. Your mind is not just a tool, it is the throne. And whatever reigns there, fear or faith, doubt or discipline, will rule your life. Every word you speak, every step you take, every choice you make begins in the hidden halls of your thinking. The mind is not passive. It is the architect of your reality. Your mindset is the gatekeeper. It decides what stays and what is rejected. It filters every moment, every opportunity through the lens of belief or limitation. This changes everything. Because if you take hold of your thoughts, you take hold of your life. Shape your inner world, and your outer world bends to match. The man who masters his mindset cannot be moved. He does not crumble under pressure. He does not inflate with praise or deflate with insult. He is anchored, not in mood, not in emotion, but in principle. He leads himself, not by whim, but by truth. And how is such a mind built? It begins where few are willing to look, in the silence of self-observation. Audit your thoughts. What plays on repeat? Do you speak to yourself like a champion or a coward? Does your inner voice lift you or limit you? Most men lose the battle before entering the arena because their inner dialogue has already declared defeat. Flood your mind with truth, not flattery, not delusion, but eternal, unshakable truth. Speak it, read it, repeat it until it becomes more familiar than the fear you once embraced. You must be vigilant, not once, but always. The enemy rarely knocks on the front door. He whispers through your own voice. He tells you to settle, to wait, to stop. Silence him with truth, then act like the man you want to be until you become him. Identity is not inherited, it is forged. Every time you choose discipline over ease, truth over excuse, order over chaos, you cast a vote for the man you're becoming. Discipline is not about feeling like it, it is about being it. Faith is not emotion, it is decision. Victory is not luck, it is consistency of mindset under pressure. Picture a warrior. Each morning he sharpens his blade, not because battle is promised, but because it is possible. He doesn't need applause to prepare. He doesn't wait for trouble to grow strong. He prepares daily so that when the test comes, he is already fit to overcome. That must be your habit, not with weapons, but with thoughts. Your thoughts are your sword, and every belief you hold either sharpens you or dulls you. Are your thoughts fighting for you or against you? Have you become your worst critic or your greatest ally? A divided mind will sabotage even the strongest man, but a fortified mind becomes a fortress. It absorbs chaos and stands firm. Until your mindset is that fortress, you will fight every battle twice. Once in your mind and once in the world. Too often, it's the first battle that breaks you. But if you build it with clarity, with truth, with repetition, the trials of life lose their power. The world may press, but it cannot penetrate, because the throne has been claimed, the ruler is awake, and the kingdom of your life is under rightful rule. Delayed gratification builds unbreakable men. You've been tricked into chasing the now, into craving quick wins, fast likes, easy praise, into believing urgency is a virtue and applause equals value. But the truth is clear. Nothing legendary is built in the short term. Not character, not greatness, not legacies. The world sells shortcuts, but the path of purpose offers none. It demands patience, rewards discipline, and honors the one who waits. The man who wins long is the man who delays now. He is not addicted to the thrill of the moment. He is anchored in the vision of what could be. He doesn't build because he's hungry. He builds because he is called. And that is rare, because it requires pain. It means saying no when others say yes. It means sacrificing comfort in silence while the crowd laughs in ignorance. But this is the mark of every great man. He does not trade the future for the present. He builds the present for the future. His name endures, not because he sprinted, but because he endured, because he withheld, because he waited, not passively, but strategically. How do you become such a man? You begin by saying no to what weakens you. You identify the comforts that kill your potential and strip them of their throne. You delay the sweetness of the moment for the strength of your mission. You starve the impulse that demands now, and you train your appetite to bow to your vision. Like a craftsman, you practice saying no, not because you hate pleasure, but because you honor power. And power always flows to discipline. Picture a sculptor. He does not rush. He doesn't seek applause after every strike. He chips away quietly, consistently. He studies the stone, lets time serve his hands. Years may pass, but he never wavers. And one day, when the veil is lifted, the world sees a masterpiece. But what they miss is what made it possible, 1,000 days of saying no. So ask yourself, what are you choosing today that will cost you 10 tomorrows? What cravings are stealing your crown? What habits seem harmless yet keep you average, untested, unseen? Are you investing in a future that will honor you, or escaping the present that demands you rise? The man who delays gratification is not missing out. He is positioning. While others trade greatness for the moment, he quietly compounds power. He stores energy. He multiplies potential. And when the day comes, when the noise fades, when the race turns long, when the test gets real, he does not panic. He performs. He endures. He wins. And the world will wonder how he rose so high, how he made it look effortless. But you will know he paid in advance, in silence, in sweat, in sacrifice. This is your invitation to turn from the cheap thrill, to lift your eyes from the instant to the eternal, to build like a man who knows the cost and pays it anyway. Delay now, rise later. And when you rise, it won't be fast, it will be forever. Your future listens to your routine. Your dreams are not waiting for a miracle. They are waiting for a routine. Not luck, not bursts of motivation, but small, deliberate acts repeated without applause. Your future isn't built in sudden breakthroughs. It is crafted in daily rituals. Power hides in repetition, in the ordinary, in the commitment to keep showing up even when nothing seems to change. It may look simple, even mundane, but those who master the mundane become masters of destiny. Why is this so hard? Because we're trained to chase the finish line, not the footsteps. We crave results, but resist routine. We want transformation, but despise repetition. The world glorifies the dramatic moment. The overnight success, the viral story, the big break, yet forgets the man behind it all. The man quietly laying brick after brick while no one watches. The one who wins long-term doesn't rely on inspiration. He builds rhythm. He doesn't ask, "Do I feel like it?" He declares, "This is what I do." His life is not a lottery. It is a system, a rhythm, a pattern of daily discipline. He knows power belongs to the consistent, not the intense. And what should that rhythm look like? Simple, repeatable, non-negotiable. Wake up on time. Move your body. Guard your mind. Build your skill. Reflect on truth. Do it even when you don't feel like it, especially then. Anyone can act when it feels good, but the man who acts regardless of feeling is the one who finishes. Picture a man treating each day like a brick. He doesn't wait for the perfect blueprint. He lays what he can with care and intention. Some days the weather is good, some days it isn't. Yet he shows up regardless. And without realizing, without trying to impress, he builds a fortress. Not because he rushed, but because he repeated. Ask yourself, what does your routine say about your destiny? Are your days structured to build strength? Or do they excuse delay? Every day is a vote. Every choice is a brick. Every morning is another chance to prepare the foundation for what you say you want. You cannot predict the future, but you can prepare for it. Preparation looks like discipline. It looks like boundaries. It looks like doing what others avoid, until it becomes who you are. The man who succeeds is not always the smartest or the most talented. He is the one who keeps showing up long after the excitement fades. Build your routine like it's prophecy, because it is. Each repeated act is a message to the future. I'm coming. I'm building. I'm ready. One day, when the moment arrives, you won't have to rise to it. You'll already be there because you trained for it. You built it one faithful day at a time. Let your habits speak louder than your hopes. Let your routine preach louder than your promises. And let the man you become be shaped by the structure you chose, not the feelings you followed. Build brick by brick, day by day, until the prophecy is fulfilled. Comparison is a trap with no exit. Every time you compare yourself to another man, you rob yourself of progress. You think you're gathering motivation, but you're gathering misery. You trade momentum for paralysis, focus for frustration. Comparison is not fuel, it is a leak. A slow, silent drain that steals your energy, your joy, your clarity, and worst of all, your voice. When you chase echoes, you forget your own sound. You try to win a race never meant for you. You run at their pace. You aim at their target. And in doing so, you abandon your own. It is not only exhausting, it is dangerous. Because you can win someone else's game and still lose your own life. Their timing is not your timing. Their struggles, their blessings, their breakthroughs, these were never meant to be copied. They were tailored for them, just as your trials and triumphs are custom fit for you. Yet still we compare, still we scroll, still we measure ourselves against curated moments and public masks. Why? Because validation feels safer than vision. Approval is immediate. Vision takes faith. It takes courage to trust what no one else can yet see. But when you trade vision for validation, you silence your calling. You shrink your mission to fit applause. And slowly, you stop building and start performing. So how do you escape this trap? Start building. Write your own scorecard. Define your own win. Don't ask what the world claps for. Ask what your soul craves. You weren't made to impress. You were made to align. And alignment never needs permission. It only needs clarity and action. Picture two craftsmen. One keeps glancing over, comparing his strokes to the man beside him. The other stays locked in, focused, steady, refining his own hand. Who wins in the end? Always the one who builds. Not the loudest, not the most liked, but the one faithful to the work. Ask yourself, are you using others as a mirror or as motivation? Are you observing to learn or to shrink? There is a difference between inspiration and imitation. Inspiration fuels. Imitation frustrates. Learn from others, but build as you. Because the only comparison that counts is between who you are today and who you were yesterday. Break the mirror. Stop using someone else's reflection to decide your worth. Pick up your hammer. Craft your life. Lay your bricks. Shape your destiny, not in competition, but in commitment. Every day you build as yourself. You step into freedom. You reclaim power. You multiply progress. Because the man who stops comparing starts creating. That man cannot be stopped. Be that man. Your environment sets your direction. You may carry vision, fire, and relentless drive. But if the soil around you is toxic, your roots will rot. The strength of the seed doesn't matter without healthy ground. If the soil is poisoned, nothing legendary grows. Still, many ignore this. Convinced grit can beat gravity and willpower can outlast sabotage. Even the strongest oak collapses when its roots sit in acid. And your environment isn't only physical. It's emotional, mental, spiritual. The tone of the voices around you, the energy of those you allow in, the conversations that shape your thinking, the books on your shelf, the habits of the people you spend time with. You absorb it all, whether you notice or not. Why does this matter? Because your environment doesn't just reflect you. It amplifies you, for better or worse. If it drags you down, the climb becomes 10 times harder. If it lifts you up, your momentum multiplies. Every voice, every space, every habit is either nurturing your destiny or poisoning your potential. So how do you upgrade it? Audit ruthlessly. What feeds you? What drains you? Which voices light your fire and which dim it? Who speaks to your vision and who drags you back to your history? Stop giving access to those who dishonor your growth. Choose relationships that reflect your future, not your past. You're not obligated to keep friendships that chain you to mediocrity. Then assess your spaces. Are they built for discipline or distraction? Is your desk a launchpad or a landfill? Is your morning shaped by clarity or chaos? Create environments that make excellence easier. Set the standard not only for your actions, but also for the space around them. Picture a man training in a muddy field. Every step is a struggle. His energy is drained just trying to stay upright. Now place that same man on solid ground. Watch him fly. Watch him break records. The effort was never the problem. The environment was. Ask yourself, is your surroundings supporting your standards or seducing you into settling? You cannot afford to normalize dysfunction. You cannot afford to build dreams in rooms that insult them. Guard your atmosphere as fiercely as you guard your goals. Because environment is never neutral, it is prophetic. It forecasts your future. Stay in the wrong soil long enough and you will wither. Plant yourself in the right ground and you will flourish. The environment doesn't ask permission to influence you. It simply does. So be bold. Make the cuts. Raise the standard. Rearrange the space. Step away from what dulls you. Move closer to what sharpens you. Build an environment that calls you higher. You cannot rise while rooted in what drags you down. Protect your ground and let your roots grow deep where greatness can thrive. Your identity must evolve before your results do. You may want a new life, a new level, a new legacy. But the real question isn't what you want. It's who you are willing to become. Change doesn't begin at the result. It begins at the root. And the root of every lasting transformation is identity. Until you shift who you believe you are, nothing external will last. You may spark a change, you may start a habit, but without the foundation of a new self-image, it will fade. Because the brain, by design, fights to stay consistent with the person you believe you are. Not the person you hope to be, but the one you already believe you are. This is why so many men sabotage their own growth. If you believe you're undisciplined, you'll break every structure you build. If you believe you're weak, you'll fold at the first resistance. If you believe you're unworthy, you'll reject every victory that comes your way. And then you'll say, I knew it. But it wasn't fate, it was identity. Here's the truth. When you shift identity, your habits must follow, because behavior flows downstream from belief. The man who believes he is a warrior trains like one. The man who believes he is a builder builds, regardless of how he feels. So how do you change identity? You speak differently, act differently, decide differently. Not once, but until your nervous system catches up. You don't wait to feel like the new man. You act like him, and let the feeling follow. You declare, this is who I am. Then you prove it, one decision at a time. You don't fake it, you forge it. Imagine a man who once saw himself as broken. Every mirror whispered shame. Every step forward felt false, until one day he chose. Not to pretend he was whole, but to become the builder. Not of a house, not of a career, but of himself. With every act of integrity, with every commitment kept, he laid a brick. He didn't wait for the world's approval. He rewrote his identity in silence until the old story no longer fit. So ask yourself, who are you becoming by default? What assumptions are shaping your days? And who could you become by design? What version of you would emerge if you cut the old narrative and build a new one from truth? You are not locked in. Your self-image is not set in stone. It is shaped by repetition of thought, behavior, choice. Start choosing what aligns with the man you want to be. Speak words that honor him. Build habits that serve him. Stand in decisions that reflect him. And the story you live will begin to shift. Once you rewrite the image, the story follows like a shadow. Want a new life? Stop decorating the old one. Become a new man, and everything around you will change to match him. You teach the world how to treat you. You are not just a product of what the world gives. You are a mirror of what you permit. Every time you let disrespect slide, you sign off on your own diminishment. Every time you shrink to keep others comfortable, you dim the fire meant to lead you. The world does not shape you alone. You participate in that shaping through silence, through compromise, through what you tolerate. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. You teach people how to treat you by what you accept. Your boundaries speak louder than your words. Your tone reveals more than your title. And your standards are your signal. They declare to the world, this is the level. Why is this urgent? Because without self-respect, success is hollow. You can gain the world and still feel like a stranger in your own skin. You can collect followers and lose yourself. You can rise in status, but shrink in spirit. One day you may wake to realize you built a life that rewards talent, but punishes truth. Respect is not just received. It is reinforced through clarity, consistency, and courage. You don't demand it with noise. You earn it with posture, with choices, with distance when necessary. So how do you teach the world? By standing firm on your values, not occasionally, but daily. Let your yes mean yes, and your no mean no. Never confuse kindness with compliance. Walk away when necessary, not as an act of pride, but as protection. Be clear, not to control, but to clarify. Never apologize for having a standard. The right people will rise to meet it. The wrong ones will reveal themselves by refusing. Picture a lighthouse. It doesn't chase ships. It doesn't scream to be seen. It simply stands, unmoved, lit, certain. And because it stands, it saves. Ships adjust their course, not the lighthouse. That is your model. Be rooted, be radiant, be resolute, and let the world respond. Ask yourself, are you being too polite with your destiny? Are you biting your tongue where you should be drawing a line? Are you letting others write your script while your story waits to be lived? You were not made to bend to every wind. You were made to anchor in truth. The world doesn't give what you ask for. It gives what you enforce. It reads your cues. It watches your response. It notices when you walk away, and it studies what you walk toward. Teach it wisely, not with rage, but with resolve. Not with volume, but with value. Not by lowering yourself, but by lifting your standard. Stand like that lighthouse, not only for others, but for yourself. Because each time you stand firm, you remind your soul who you are. And when you live this way, the waves may crash, but they will never consume you. The tide will shift. The winds will change. But the man who stands in truth never has to chase what he is destined to attract. Hold your ground, and let the world adjust. Your energy is your true commercial, not time, not money. The most valuable asset you have is your energy. Because where your energy flows, your life grows. It is the current that powers every goal, every habit, every relationship. Yet most men spend it like loose change, scattering it on complaints, gossip, and pursuits that drain rather than build. You think you're managing time, but time without energy is useless. What good is a free hour if you have no fuel to use it? What good is opportunity if your spirit is too tired to seize it? This is why energy is everything. When your energy is high, the impossible begins to feel possible. You move with momentum. You think with clarity. You act with power. But when you're drained, even the smallest task becomes a mountain. Conversations feel heavy. Purpose feels distant. Your vision blurs, not because it's gone, but because you're too tired to reach for it. So the question is, how do you protect your energy? You begin by removing thieves. Conversations that go nowhere. People who drain your soul. Habits that deplete your strength. Every small leak eventually sinks the ship. You must be ruthless, because your mission is too important to keep sacrificing to distraction. Guard your mornings like sacred ground. That first hour isn't casual, it is crucial. Begin your day with intention, not reaction. Move your body. Feed your mind. Pray. Read. Write. Whatever fills the tank, do it. Before the world makes demands, you must fill your reserves. And beyond the morning, stay close to what expands you. Read words that lift you. Build with people who stretch you. Say yes to what charges your soul, and no to what drains it. This isn't selfish, it's stewardship. Picture a fire in the middle of a cold forest. That fire is the difference between life and death. Fed well, it warms the space, lights the night, signals hope. But if neglected, it flickers, fades, and dies. And so does the possibility it carried. You are that fire. So ask yourself, what are you giving energy to that gives nothing back? Where are you pouring strength into emptiness? What if you redirected it, all the attention, effort, and care, back into you? Not to indulge, but to equip, to fortify, to ignite. Because your future is not waiting on the tired version of you. It is waiting on the charged version of you. The one who shows up with fire in his eyes. The one who still has fuel left for what matters most. The one who chooses purpose over pressure, mission over motion. Energy isn't infinite, but it is renewable if you protect it. So today, choose wisely. Not just what you do, but what you give yourself to. Guard your fire. Feed it daily. Let it burn so strong that it not only lights your path, but becomes a beacon for others as well. Protect your energy, and you protect your future. You won't always feel like it. Most days you won't. You'll feel tired, uncertain, even afraid. And that is exactly where separation begins, between those who dream and those who do. Acting when motivation is high and skies are clear is easy. But success is not built in the easy. It is forged in friction. The defining moments aren't when you feel strong, but when you act despite feeling weak. That is where real power lies, hidden behind discomfort. Why so hidden? Because comfort is louder than commitment. Excuses never come with warning labels. They were the mask of logic. They sound reasonable, they whisper softly. They tell you that you deserve a break, when what you really deserve is a breakthrough. And every time you act despite the feeling, you prove something vital to your mind. I am not led by moods. I am led by mission. You retrain your brain to follow truth over impulse. You rewire your identity around discipline, not desire. And slowly, You become the kind of man who doesn't wait for the storm to pass. He builds through it. So how do you train this? You set the plan, and then you honor it like a vow. Not a suggestion, not a maybe, a vow. Make commitment your default, not convenience. When the alarm rings, you don't negotiate. When your schedule calls, you don't ask how you feel. The path was chosen before the mood arrived. Treat feelings as noise. Let them speak, but don't let them steer. They are background chatter. You are the driver. Stay loyal to the goal, not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Picture a soldier waking in the dark. No applause, no spotlight, no guarantees, just orders, just purpose. He doesn't wait to feel like it. He doesn't need inspiration. He moves because he is trained, because he said yes to something bigger than himself. That is how mission wins over mood. Ask yourself, are you waiting to feel ready, or ready to feel whatever comes and keep going anyway? Are you waiting for clarity, or willing to walk through the fog with faith in your steps? The man who does it anyway doesn't just finish the task. He forges a new self. Every rep, every step, every page, every choice done in defiance of feeling is a declaration. I am becoming unshakable. Do it anyway. That is where winners are born, not in the comfort of readiness, but in the crucible of resistance. When the body is tired but the spirit stands tall. When the world says pause but the soul says press. That is where excellence begins. So rise, move, write, train, build. Whatever your mission is, return to it. Feel the resistance and do it anyway. Because the man who can do that can do anything. What you tolerate becomes your truth. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you accept. Not your dreams, not your intentions, but your standards. Every time you tolerate disrespect, delay, or disorganization, you silently approve it. You reinforce it. And soon, what was once unacceptable becomes your everyday reality. This is why most men live below their potential. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they've negotiated too often with mediocrity. They've lowered the bar to match their surroundings instead of lifting their surroundings to match their vision. They've chosen peace with others over peace with their own future. Why is this law so crucial? Because it holds up a mirror. It forces you to face the truth. Your life is a reflection of what you've permitted. You can blame your boss. You can blame your upbringing. You can blame your environment. But nothing shifts until your tolerance does. Real change doesn't begin when circumstances improve. It begins when your standards get stricter, when you shrink what you're willing to accept. So how do you recalibrate? You start with an audit. Brutal, honest, unfiltered. Look at your habits. What do your mornings say about your priorities? Look at your environment. Is your workspace built for productivity or for chaos? Look at your health. Are you honoring your body or neglecting it? Look at your relationships. Do your friendships elevate your standard or enable your excuses? Then ask yourself, what am I allowing that insults my future? That single question can realign your life. Raise your bottom line. Decide what is no longer acceptable. Mediocrity thrives on the man who makes exceptions. Discipline honors the man who sets boundaries. And the world will test you. It will press. It will push. It will beg you to bend. But you must hold the line, not with arrogance, but with honor. Because the future you want isn't waiting on luck. It's waiting on the man who refuses to settle. Enforce your standard without apology. Don't explain it. Don't defend it. Live it. Let your consistency speak louder than excuses. Let your actions teach those around you what is no longer permitted. Picture a gatekeeper before a palace. He doesn't shout. He doesn't chase intruders. He simply decides who enters and who does not. If he lets chaos in, the kingdom falls. But if he guards with honor, the treasure remains protected. That gatekeeper is you, and your standard is the gate. Ask yourself, are you guarding your standards, or hoping things fix themselves? Are you reacting to life, or leading it? What you tolerate today becomes your normal tomorrow, and your normal, over time, becomes your identity. Choose wisely. The man who guards his standards builds a life others admire, but few can duplicate. Not because he was lucky, but because he was loyal to his highest self. So set the standard. Hold it firm, and watch your life rise to meet it. Every setback is a setup for the man who looks twice. You failed. You stumbled. Good. That means you were in the arena. You weren't hiding. You weren't watching. You were trying. And that alone separates you from most. But let's be clear, failure is not the final word. It is a chapter. Brutal, yes, but also a teacher with the hardest lessons and the richest rewards. It reveals what success hides. It cuts through illusion. It exposes weakness, not to shame you, but to shape you. Why do some men crumble under setbacks? Because they confuse an event with identity. They think I failed means I am a failure. And that lie infects everything. It keeps many men on the sidelines. It convinces them to lower their aim. But falling is not a verdict. It's a mirror. It reveals where the cracks are. And if you're wise enough to look again, failure becomes data. It becomes redirection. It becomes strength, forged in the fire of experience. The man who wins isn't the one who avoids failure. He's the one who uses it. He reflects, he adjusts, he re-engages. He doesn't take it personally, he professionalizes it. He doesn't spiral, he strategizes. He knows failure is feedback, not a full stop. So how do you turn it into fuel? Start by asking better questions. Not why me, but what did I miss? Not what will they think, but what must I change? Every failure holds a blueprint for the man willing to study it. But you must look twice, once with emotion, then again with strategy. Picture a chess player losing a key piece. He doesn't flip the board. He doesn't quit in rage. He studies, adapts, and finds a new path. He sacrifices short-term pride for long-term positioning. And eventually, he wins. Not because it was easy, but because he stayed in the game. Ask yourself, are setbacks proof to quit or pressure to rise? Do you let failure define your ceiling, or use it to dig deeper, climb higher, and become more? Understand this. The setback is not your sentence. It is your setup. If you look again, refuse to sulk, and rise while others retreat, that's the difference between the average man and the architect of his future. You don't need to fear failure. You need to fear not learning from it. Because what breaks you today will return tomorrow, unless you extract the lesson, build new muscle, and step back and stronger and wiser. So wear your scars with purpose, not as marks of shame, but as medals of endurance. Let each mistake become a manual. Let every loss fuel your return. The man who fails and still finishes is greater than the one who never tried. Stand up, look again, and get back in position. Your comeback isn't chance, it's choice. Legacy begins with daily decisions. Legacy isn't built at the end. It isn't a speech after you're gone or a name carved in stone. It's built daily, quietly, consistently, in your choices, your habits, in how you speak, love, and lead. Too many believe legacy is for the famous, for presidents, inventors, or those written into textbooks. But legacy isn't about being known by the world. It's about being remembered by the right people, your children, your team, your circle. Legacy is the echo of your choices, what lingers in the room after you leave. And that's why today matters more than you think. Every conversation you have, every boundary you keep, every small promise you honor, these are not minor, they are bricks. Over time, they become the walls of your character, the shape of your story. The way you show up now sets the tone for how you'll be remembered later. Consistency, even when no one's watching, builds a reputation that outlives you. You don't stumble into a legacy, you build one. So what will you choose today? Will you speak truth or stay silent? Show up early or hit snooze again? Give your best or just enough to get by? Lead with courage, even when it's uncomfortable, or blend into the background unnoticed. Picture a builder laying a foundation. No one praises the first stone. No crowds gather when he aligns the framework. But still, he continues. Each stone, each brick, each nail matters. Precision matters. Effort matters. And one day, when the structure rises and others stand in awe of what's been built, he knows. He knows what went into it. The unseen hours, the silent choices, the sweat and sacrifice. That builder is you, and the foundation is your daily life. Your legacy is poured into every routine, every act of integrity, every refusal to lower your standard. You are shaping what the world will one day attach to your name. Ask yourself, what will your name mean when you're not in the room? Will it command respect or vanish like smoke? Will people speak of your discipline, your honor, your consistency, or will silence follow because there was nothing firm enough to last? Will your children remember the man who showed up, not perfectly, but fully? Will your team carry the standard you set? Will your community feel your impact, not because you shouted, but because you stood? These questions aren't meant to burden you. They are meant to awaken you. Legacy isn't found in some distant future. It is built one decision at a time. You don't need a grand gesture. You need a faithful one. You build legacy when you choose truth over ease, when you forgive first, when you say no to what insults your future, when you rise before the sun to keep a promise to yourself, when you push through discomfort to live by principle. Legacy is built when you do the right thing, even when it's hard. When you lead with conviction instead of convenience. When you lift others instead of competing with them. It isn't complicated, but it is costly, because legacy requires intention. It requires presence. It demands that you stop waiting for someday and start laying bricks today. The world may never applaud you, but if you build well, it will give you something greater, remembrance. And in that remembrance, your life will continue to speak. So decide now, what kind of monument are you building with your days? What truth will your name carry when your voice is gone? You don't find legacy, you build it. One decision at a time, and the time to build is now. Turn inward. Stop watching others rise while you stay stagnant. Build your mind, your skills, your strength. Cut the noise, cancel the comparisons, elevate your standard, and refuse to quit halfway. You owe yourself the finish line. Focus on yourself relentlessly until there's nothing left to prove. Wishing you health, happiness, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily.